Hi guys. So yes, I am back with Callum, and yes, we're not talking about wrestling. No, we're leaving that till next weekend. No, today we're going to be talking about, as you can tell for our shirts, football. Because yes, if you are a football fan or a Premier League fan or certainly a Newcastle fan, then this has been a very big week for football. Because well, we're going to talk about this today. Nice little discussion. Well, I'll let Callum do most of the talking because it's his club. But yes, Newcastle United have been bought out by the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund, and they are worth apparently up to over £300 billion. Woo, woo! That is that's a lot of money. And Newcastle are now the richest club in world football, and it's just I think everyone is like good God. Like, so in a couple of years' time, Newcastle are going to have a world class squad, a world class manager, and they're going to be up there with the big boys. They'll be up there with Liverpool, Manchester United, City, Chelsea. It's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen in the next few years. It's a very exciting time now because I myself am made up for Newcastle. It's been they deserve this with a lot of the shit they've had to put up with the last 10 years. So plus that. So, but yeah, Callum, uh, I'm sure you're over the moon, as are most Newcastle fans. Like there was a big parade outside. Well, there was a big celebration, wasn't there, outside St James Park? They're all going nuts with like Saudi Arabian flags and all that. But yeah, Callum, what are your thoughts and how happy are you exactly?
Well, I am extremely happy. It's really weird because to put Newcastle United and richest football club in the world in the same sentence it doesn't seem like it should that they go together, but
Hmm.
it actually has happened, and the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia own 80% of the country of the club. The other 20% is split between PCP Capital Partners, which is Amanda Staveley, who is basically the face now of the club, whereas before it was obviously Mike Ashley. And then obviously you have the Rubin brothers. Jamie Rubin is going to make up one of the sort of non-executive board members, as well as someone from the PIF as well. But this has been happening for 18 months. It was April last year when it first broke that this was possibly going to be happening. And then by July, it was off. And since then, credit to Mike Ashley. Like, if you are a Newcastle fan watching this, you know how much we dislike Mike Ashley. But over the last 12 months, he has tried to take the Premier League to court. He's done everything possible that he can, basically, to make sure that this takeover goes through. So, as much as we don't like Mike Ashley for the way that he ran the club over the last 14 years, you
Yeah.
have to give him some credit for sticking at this and, selling us to a buyer who is actually going to sort of, bring us back to the level we were at sort of 20 so years ago. Um, and then it's been really quick the last few days. Well, from Thursday when the takeover happened, it was maybe Tuesday when it started to come out again that this could actually happen.
Mm.
All the sort of prediction videos and mid-season reviews and everything that we've done over the last 18 months, I've always mentioned the takeover. Or even if only briefly to say, this is what's been happening, etc. And, I don't. Anyway, it is realised the takeover has happened. 320 billion pounds, I think the Public Investment Fund are worth.
Jeez.
I think the Qatari owners of PSG are something like 220 billion or something. So we've got 100 billion on PSG. Now, obviously, that's the owners, and obviously, when you do transfers, you have to work by financial fair play and everything like that, of course. But we could apparently have 190 million to spend in January without bothering any financial fair play.
In
So
January.
200 million possible on transfers in January without messing with financial fair play. And again, to be honest, credit to Mike Ashley, because the only reason we are able to do that is because of, he's a businessman and he's kept the books in check and level where they need to be so that we're a financially stable club. So now obviously we have owners who have a lot of money. They can basically put in 200 million within a few months on the squad. But other than that, you've got, work being done on the training ground at the Benton base, because that's been run down for years, but Mike Ash has never put any money into it. St James's Park as a stadium, it could have a whole revamp to it. All those Sports Direct advertisements will be pulled down from there.
Yeah.
The city of Newcastle in itself, the public investment fund we're talking about, just building up the city in the surrounding area and building various things and just making the city better. So really it was everything positive that this takeover would bring for the fans of Newcastle and the city. Of course, Steve Bruce is going to be sacked at some point. I think they might have just been leaving it for the weekend for it to settle in, but it might be that tomorrow you hear that Steve Bruce has been, sacked, kind of thing. He said he wants to prove what he can do to the new owners, but Steve, honestly, please.
If Steve Bruce is given time and he's given world-class players, then I think he'd do all right. If you signed some really top players in January, I think they'd cover the fact that Steve Bruce is a championship manager, because you'd have a world-class squad. It'd be like when we had Brendan Rodgers and we had we nearly won the title in 13-14. I think Luis Suarez covered the fact that maybe he wasn't like an amazing manager, but we had such an amazing season that season. But I think that's if Steve Bruce is kept on, which I don't think he will be. I think they'll be like, get out. We want get out. They want to bring in maybe Mancini or I don't know, Gerrard. Who else is the Mancini, Gerrard, or Conte maybe?
Well, they've got apparently a name being tooted around because he's out of a job is Zinedine Zidane. Antonio Conte is out of a job after leaving Inter Milan. Apparently there are some conditions that the consortium would need to agree with, but Conte's apparently said that he'd be interested if he was allowed to have control over transfers. Yeah. Rafa Benitez was a name that cropped back up again. He's only signed for Everton recently, so I don't think he's going to leave there. Yeah. As much as some Newcastle fans would love to see him back. Steven Gerrard, but Rangers again, the Invincibles in the SPFL last year. Yeah. Lampard, who's obviously not had a job since Chelsea. Graham Potter was a name that's actually been quite strongly linked. But actually, I think in the short term, he's probably better off staying with Brighton anyway. Yeah. Because realistically, I know that we've been taken over by some of the richest people in the world, but that doesn't mean that tomorrow we're going to be a club that's challenging for the Champions League. Manchester City, it took them 4 years, I think it was, after the takeover to win the Premier League, and obviously I'm not even saying that's a guarantee. But realistically, we are 19th in the table with 0 wins. And we still have a series of games until January anyway, where we have to deal with the squad that we have. Now, if you get in a manager, someone like Conte or Zidane or something like that, and with the takeover and everything as well, obviously there's going to be a bit of a buzz around the camp and with new coaches and everything that comes in. So you'd like to think that that's obviously going to have an impact. We have Spurs next weekend, so anything's a possibility. But we can't say that we're going to start winning games off the bat, because we still have the same squad. Saying that the squad we have shouldn't be where it is anyway, if I'm being honest. But that's just, you could say that's Steve Bruce's fault or Mike Ash's fault or whoever's fault you want to say it is the players, but realistically they shouldn't be where they are. But January, like I said, we've got loads of money potentially to spend. Some of the early reports are that we're going to James Tarkowski from Burnley as a centre back, Jesse Lingard, Philip Coutinho, Koulibaly from Napoli, the centre back, Mauro Icardi from PSG, Anthony Martial from Manchester United. I mean, think of it. I mean, obviously they're a lot more high profile. Aaron Ramsey, Lautaro Martinez. I don't know where he came from. Basically, everyone's just going to be throwing every single player that is currently playing football at at the new owners who might be worth.
We want everyone. Hey,
bring them all in. And Eden Hazard as well. I mean, anyway, I could list loads of people's names, but realistically, however many of those that we're going to sign in January, but a few of them are going to be realistic targets, and they will obviously improve the team. Like Man City had Robinho when they, a couple of months after their takeover and stuff, and that kind of kick-started everything. So if we can get even 3 or 4 of those players in January, then obviously that's going to help the relegation scrap. But we are currently in one, unfortunately. So as happy as we can be that we've been taken over, we could still be in the Championship next season, based on current form anyway. So hopefully it's not going to come to that, because anyway, transfers in January hopefully will get us out of the predicament that we are currently in.
This isn't really related. I just thought of that funny meme, like, you best start believing in relegation battles, Newcastle. You're in one. just I was like, that's not funny.
No, I mean, it's not funny, but it's true. Like,
no, it's just from parts of the Caribbean, so it's just a funny quote.
Oh, I know. But yeah, obviously we are there, unfortunately, and
at the minute.
You'd like to think that with a new kind of regime and stuff, the players might get better coaches, better manager, transfers in January. You'd like to think, even if it takes a little while, we'll eventually be safe. I'm not expecting us to sign Mbappe and Haaland in January, because that isn't not going to happen yet. Maybe in a few seasons' time. But yeah, it's just one of those things that we have to wait and see. We obviously are reshaping everything, and apparently someone called Ralph Rangnick, I think his name is, he was sporting director, I think, of RB Leipzig. And obviously they started from kind of really sort of down under in German second divisions and stuff, and he helped build them up to be kind of title challengers where they are now in the Bundesliga. But yeah, I mean, everything's going to change. The main fear, I think, is that fans or people in general are just going to start jumping on the sort of bandwagon, if you like, and Newcastle will lose some of what makes it Newcastle. Like outside St. James's Park, there were thousands of fans who were celebrating the takeover and all those kind of things. But then you're bound to have, like with Man City, some people don't even fill the Etihad Stadium. And people just jump from club to club, and people who don't really support them and just follow the money or the players or whatever it is. There's a fear of losing the club in general. And there's lots of people who disagree with the takeover in itself. All other Premier League clubs have complained about the takeover.
I'd say the big six have complained, but not every club.
I think the majority of them might have, only because the public investment fund is like the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia is the head of that investment fund. So I think people are concerned that Saudi Arabia basically now run Newcastle United. But one of the reasons the takeover didn't go through in the first place is the Premier League wanted assurances that it would not be a state-run club. So I think they legally bound assurances that wasn't going to be the case. But yeah, there's lots of people who are concerned about the human rights records and everything in Saudi Arabia. And I don't want to get into anything too political or anything. And I know that they're not all the best, but it's kind of, the separation between the investment fund and the country itself hopefully should be enough to make people see that, people think it's sports washing and they're trying to kind of hide the fact of the things that they do in the country. And they've also invested in various other things, sports around the world and stuff to kind of detach them from some things that they've done and things that they do in the country, etc. But whatever it is that you think of the country and the people, the club needed this after being starved for so long by Mike Ashley. No ambition, no players, constant relegation scraps, 2 relegations in the 14 years that he was here. Thankfully, we managed to bounce back straight from those. But you look at Sunderland, they were relegated and then they were relegated again. That easily could have happened to us under Mike Ashley, and we got relegated twice in 14 years. That is not good. That is not good. We went through so many different managers as well. He alienated people like Alan Shearer and Kevin Keegan and things like that. The new owners are contacting them to see if there's a possibility they want to come and have roles at the club, which I would love to see because obviously they're both legends. But I don't really. I mean, I feel like I've just ranted on and said a lot of things, but realistically, the takeover in itself, it has been is huge for Newcastle, and the owners who, like Amanda Staley in her interview was talking about, having challenging for the Champions League and the Premier League title in 5 to 10 years and things like that, and realistically, of course, I would love us to be there. But we have to, admit that it will take time. Graham Jones might be in charge for Spurs next week if we don't have another manager in place by then. Realistically, I'd actually quite like him to stay as any part of new backroom staff because since February, since he came in, I know obviously the start of the season's not been great for us, but he was a big reason for upturning form. In terms of players, I only Wilson, Maximan, Willock, maybe Almiron and Dubravka, maybe the 5 players, 5 or 6 players that realistically could possibly be part of a team that could get us higher up the table. Everyone else would need to perhaps be revamped and changed. And obviously it could be a very new look Newcastle come this time next year after the summer transfer window and more business gets done. But, I don't really think there's much else I have to say on the fact other than I'm excited, but also know that there could be other negative implications for the club later, based on how people see us and all those kind of things, with links to, Saudi Arabia and stuff like that. But, people will obviously have their views on different views on things, positive and negative. But realistically, the Newcastle supporters are very joyous at this moment in time. Steve Bruce is still the manager. We still do have the same players we had last week, but hopefully this will be the start of something great. But there's no guarantee on that. Things could fail. But we're supposed to be that much money. Well, money speaks louder than anything else sometimes, doesn't it? So, hopefully that will be a bright future for Newcastle United.
Yeah, fingers crossed, dear boy. It looks very promising. I watched True Geordie's video on it, and he was made up, of course. Yeah, I'll finish a little closing statement then. But I can hear myself. Go. Okay. But yeah, I think this is a really it's a very good time for Newcastle fans. I think in several years' time, we're going to see Newcastle up there. We're going to see them up there. I think once you've had a few transfer windows to bring in some top players with a new top-class, world-class manager, yeah, Newcastle United are going to be back up there. I think in the top 4, challenging within the next 2 to 3 seasons. I think so. It's very exciting. If I was those players in that current Newcastle squad, though, I'd be very nervous because I think most of them are going to be getting chucked out in the next year or two. Because let's face it, that's an average Newcastle squad. Apart from a few very good players, it's a very average Newcastle squad. So it's going to be chopped and changed very quickly, I think. So I think a lot of those players are going to be going bye-bye. apart from maybe St. Maximum, Wilson. That's really all I can think of. Like who I think will stay with top players around them.
Willock.
Oh yeah, Willock. Fair enough. That's three.
He's only young at the end of the day, so he's still got a lot of growth time.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very exciting, and I look forward to see where Newcastle will be in 2-3 years from now. Will they be in the Champions League? Will they have an FA Cup, Carabao Cup? Will they be in the top four, fighting alongside Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester clubs, Chelsea? We will see. And are you now going to like a little Arsenal and Tottenham fans are like no? Like,
That's what Luke said. He said he's scared because it means now that Arsenal are going to fall even further down from where they were, and they did it well.
Well, Arsenal and Tottenham are one of the top, the big six in terms of finance, but they're not one of the top four, definitely. But yeah, okay. I've been looking at before we finish. I was looking at the richest owners, and yeah, obviously Newcastle are now top, but second is Man City with 23 billion. Third is RB Leipzig with 15 billion.
I'm fairly certain that Wolves and someone else are on there too. Is the richest?
You said PSG. Yeah, you said PSG were rich. Their owner's only worth 6 billion.
Well, I see different things.
I know it's weird. This is on
maybe the one person who is like in charge of PSG, but it's like it's something. I'm pretty sure it's the Qatari version of the public investment fund which owns them. But there's different figures and things that are pushed around. But realistically, if you can afford to have Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe in the same team and bring in people like Hakimi, Donnarumma, Wijnaldum, and pay them that much, you're going to have a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But, I mean...
I find it funny that Arsenal are there. Stan Kroenke, 6.8 billion. Liverpool aren't even in this list.
Neither are Manchester United, are they?
No, I thought Man United would be mint. Well,
actually, I thought they would be.
Because the Glazers, is it the Glazers? Yeah,
yeah.
They're not like they're rich, but they're not like rich. So yeah, obviously they're not up there. Same with John Henry for Liverpool. Okay, well, but it doesn't matter. We're still top four clubs. So yeah, okay then, dear boy. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for your input. It's been a pleasure watching you be so happy about Newcastle and the bright future that is ahead of this club that has
it feels different. It feels good. Not to sit here and say, what was it, at the end of last season, I was like, I really have nothing positive to say. I remember at the start of this one, I really have nothing positive to say about the club, and now all I have to say is majority positive for the fans of the club and the city, apart from controversy surrounding the actual country of Saudi Arabia and the people. But at the end of the day, that doesn't really have anything to do with the club. That's to do with so you can, it should be left separate realistically from it. Although some people will obviously put two and two together, but there you go.
Yeah, well, yeah, like I said, I've finished off with this. Newcastle fans, I think, Newcastle have one of the best, I think, in my opinion, one of the best fan bases in the country. You're very loyal, devoted fan base that I've had to put up with a lot of bad stuff for the last 10, 15 years. So it's long overdue for Newcastle fans, and I think they really deserve this, that the city, the club, the fans, and I think the future's very bright. But like you said, the only problem is you're going to get a lot of glory hunters joining your fan base in the next. You've seen it with PSG, with City. When you start getting success, you're going to get a lot of plastic glory hunters coming to join. And then as soon as things go bad, they'll go and support the club. You've seen it with Man City. Yes, I think the future's bright for Newcastle, and I can't wait to see where they are in 2 years from now. Champions League final. Premier League.
Versus Liverpool.
Imagine that, the Champions League final in 2 years' time. The Magpies and Livebirds. Okay, dear boy. Well, we'll leave it there. Thank you all for watching, guys. And yes, dear boy, we'll be back next week with our prediction for Crown
Saudi
Jewel,
Arabia,
which is taking place in Saudi Arabia. So yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you all for watching, guys, and we'll see you all very soon. And go on, Callum, say it.
Hooray, the lads!
Woo!